thank you guys for 100 subscribers. I've hit 100 subscribers on YouTube. I'm very grateful of it. You know, you guys like the content. I see the comments that come in. I'm so grateful, you know, of you guys, you know, being with me, supporting me. You know, I know I'm not the best trader in the industry, you know, but I'm trying to become a great trader, you know. So if you guys are willing to learn, you know, I'll continue to put out videos. Just leave in the comments what you guys want to see next. You know, if there's any specific video you want me to cover, let me know. I'm more than willing to do it for you guys. But thank you again for 100 subscribers. It's cool. I've never, you know, I mean, I have other YouTube accounts, but this account here is an account that I'm actually working and, you know, putting content together and listening to what you guys say and, you know, responding back to comments. So I'm very, very grateful of it. Very, very grateful of it. So on that note, I'm back. I know it's been a long time. I've been gone for a little minute. I know. I'm so sorry. It's probably been a month since I last posted a video. There's a logical explanation and then a more spiritual, mental explanation. So logical, of course, you know, I just haven't been making videos. I haven't been making videos for the past month. I know some YouTubers, you know, they'll create a bunch of videos and then they can just post them whenever, you know, the time comes. But for me, everything that I do is authentic right now, at least. You know, so I really just haven't recorded any videos. And then the more mental, spiritual level, like I was kind of, you know, going through something mentally. So I took some time off to really just clear my mind and get my mind back right. You know, if there's anyone that watches this video that is like dealing with, you know, depression or, you know, just they're in a rut, their mind is just cluttered and it's not clear, or, you know, whatever the case may be, some people aren't strong enough to get themselves out of that. So I highly recommend you talk to someone. I'm so grateful that I have, you know, the friends that I have, the family that I have, that, you know, I'm able to talk to them and they're able to help me clear my mind a little bit, or they can relate to me and they can kind of help, you know, me feel a little bit better about myself. But for the past month, I was just in this like headspace that just wasn't normal. I've never felt it before. So for me, you know, I really didn't know what was going on. I really had no idea. My background as like, you know, African-American male, you know, I really haven't had the opportunity to really speak to therapists the way that I should, essentially. You know, my mom, she bought us as a family. I shouldn't even really be talking about this, but all right, we're gonna leave that alone. It's getting a little too sentimental. But I'm back, YouTube. Just know your boy's back. Your boy is ready to attack. Your boy is here with a recap. So let's go ahead and jump straight to the chart. So I took 2 trades last night on my return. Both on 12/8, of course, which was today, essentially. One was last night though, around, I want to say 9-10 p.m. and then I took one this morning as well, around 10 a.m. around 10 a.m. Yeah. So the first trade I want to go over is this GJ trade. So what we're going to do here is just kind of go through a replay mode. And let's just double back about right there, right? So once we double back, let's go down to like a lower time frame. So as you can see, I already have these zones marked up. This zone was marked up as a level of resistance on the lower time frame. So if I come down here to like a 30-minute, you see this minor level of resistance that was formed right in this region here, right? So I marked that zone out and pulled it across as just like a level to pay attention to moving into the future. I missed this trade here on the breakout. So the breakout closed and then the follow-up retest and then zoom forward. This would have been a solid trade if I would have, or if anyone took this trade, let's just say right around this region here. We got some stops below this candle here, right? So we're looking at about 31 pips to target up here. If you were to take this on a 30-minute time frame, you're looking at about a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. If you would have dropped down to a lower time frame, you probably would have got an even better entry somewhere around like this region right here. Could have tightened up the stops a bit more underneath this red candle, right? And then caught, you know, a more of a 3 to 1. Let's just say right around this zone here, you would have caught like your 3 to 1. But that wasn't the trade that I took. So price kind of did its own thing. It pushed. It got up to the zone here. Boom, perfect. So we're up in the zone. Now what was happening was I still wasn't clear. I know this was a retest of this like larger trend that was taking place from back in November. So we had, you know, this trend line that kind of price was following, holding the trend line, doing its thing. And then it broke below the trend line and came back to retest the trend line, right? So some people, you could have took a sell right up in this region. Could have took your sell, you know, your stops above, you know, the 50 MA, and then your target somewhere down here in this region, right? Could have been something along the lines of that. But of course, that wasn't the trade that I took. That was not the trade that I took. So let's just move this forward. Boom, it would have hit, right? That was an opportunity itself. So I didn't take that setup. So what happened was that led us to where we are now in the market, right? So let's see, this is 10-8. Yep, right here. So drop down to a 30-minute time frame. So what we had here was we had two levels that were exposed themselves. So we had this level of resistance. Why? Because we had a minor level of resistance here. We had some resistance here. We had an attempted breakout, but pull back in. Another attempted breakout, pull back in. A bunch of wicks to the upside. So we had all of that taking place. So I was really sell biased, right, around this region here. But unfortunately, I went to bed and I missed this opportunity to sell off. This was a prime opportunity, right? You drop down to a 5-minute time frame in this region, you would have caught you a nice little break, pull back, wick entry right there. And then we could have took something right here underneath this green candle as price was breaking out, stops above this red candle or the green candle, whichever one works better for you. 8 pips, you know, is sufficient. Looking at a 5-minute time frame, and then your target, you're doing your 3 to 1s, right? So boom. So you risk 1 to make 3, and it would have smacked within like 20, 30 minutes. That was a solid trade, but still, I did not take that setup. That wasn't my setup. So price did its thing. It fell off. It went from zone to zone. So if we come back up here to like a 1-hour time frame, we have this zone here, this level of resistance, followed by this zone here. Remember, 30-minute resistance, pulled it across, zone to zone. Price moves from zone to zone, right? So it pushed down to this zone here, right? And as you can see on the 1-hour time frame, we had this large bullish candle. Last night, if you were looking on forexlive.com, there was an article that came out. Here, let me pull it up so I'm not mistaken anything. What? Of course. Dang, Orby wants me to verify stuff. Let's see if I can bypass that security. There we go. So let's see. Last night. Yeah, right here. So last night we had GBP USD spikes higher on UK, EU, UK deal in principle, but runs into massive resistance, moving average resistance. So this came out, and that's what caused this spike right here, right? But then following that, we had this news article that just dropped. Brexit. Germany's Roth says there's no substantial progress. So once this came out, this is what caused price to fall when I took the trade. And you're gonna see where I took the setup. So as price, as you can see, ran all the way up here. So it came down to the zone and it shot way up to this zone up here at this level of resistance, right? And then we had the wick rejection right in that region. So price pulled back, right? So I was looking at this point, I was looking for a buy opportunity. I saw that it broke out. I was looking for a buy opportunity. So I was just kind of watching it. So I was more so on a 5-minute time frame watching it right around this region here. And what I was looking for was for price to kind of hold, like form a level of support and start turning around to go up, right? So it formed a level, I wasn't really liking the wicks to the upside, but it was forming this level, right? We wanted it to break this trend line. So it broke the trend line and pulled back. At the time, I was walking my dog, so I missed it, right? And then this was great because it broke that level of support, closed below it, right? So now my buy bias is no longer valid to me because I wanted it to hold this, break above, kind of do a little retest, and then come back up to test these highs, but we didn't get that. So what happened was it started to break below. Now, once it broke below this level of support, I was looking for an opportunity to sell, right? So I saw that, all right, cool, it's breaking below. Let's see where we at. So it broke below and then it came back to retest. Now we have the 50 and the 20 moving average, right? So we're looking for those moving averages to act as some form of resistance. So what happened was price came up, it printed this massive wick. That let me know that, all right, the sellers are in the market to push price back down to like this zone here, which was essentially support acting as resistance right here in this region. So we had support, broke below, acted as resistance, and then it broke above. So I just pulled that across. And then I knew that price would at least come back down to this 138.50 level to test. If it were gonna go up, it will come back down there first. So once it closed below the moving averages, so it tried to test the 20 and the 50 and close below both of them, I was like, perfect, this is an opportunity for me to jump in on a sell opportunity. So that candle happened a little too fast. Let me go back real quick, see if I drop down to 1 minute what I can do for you guys. Right, so price pushed, it pushed, couldn't do anything. Now I took a market execution on the 5-minute time frame when the red candle started to close below the green candle. So it was right here. So this green candle, as soon as price started to push below the green candle, I was like, all right, bet this is time for me to sell this. So I had my sell market execution right here. I was risking about 8 pips to make about 17 pips. So it was like a 2-to-1. My 8 pips was about $300 on the trade to make about 600. So once price got below that, I executed. So boom, executed immediately in profit. There was no drawdown. So what happened was price clipped, right? And immediately within a minute shot and hit my TP. The reason it hit my TP was because of this article that came out here. So with them saying that, you know, it was unlikely that there would be a deal, that caused, you know, a sell-off on the GBP to push down. So I was able to snag, you know, the 17 pips. I could have got a little bit more, you know, I could have tried to risk or try to get, you know, go down to 138.50, but it was just, you know, risky. It was a quick play for me to jump in. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I could have got down here, down at this 150, but you know, that's not my game. I'm looking at levels, right? This was a level to me. So for me to take this trade here and target here, I can walk away from the chart and at least know that if price is gonna fall the way it's supposed to, it's gonna hit this level. I couldn't say that, all right, 150 was gonna be the level, because if I put my cursor here, my crosshair, yeah, you had some wicks in this region here, but if I jump back up to like a 5-minute time frame, you know, there just wasn't enough like levels for me to say, all right, this is it. If I look left, there was just this level of support, which, I mean, you could have used that, but it wasn't much. Right here, I had support and resistance. So this level was more meaningful to me. So once I, you know, got in my trade, it hit my TP, it immediately turned around and went the opposite direction, right? But guess what? I really don't even care what's happening anymore. Why? Because my trade already set up. It hit, I'm out. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? So that was my GBP JPY trade that I took this morning. And then last night, I was in a GBP AUD trade. And let's run back a little bit. So let's take the crosshairs. Let's come back about right here. So same scenario. you want to look at your levels, right? So I know yesterday I was looking at this level of resistance, right? You had like a touch here, here, and then we finally had a break, right? Once we got that break was significant. We wanted a retest. There was a retest right here, but unfortunately for me, I wasn't able to take this setup. I kind of just missed the setup way up here. I'm not too sure what caused me to miss it. Either I was, doing something else, or, I just wasn't on the charts, but there was a level of support that was formed right here on the 30-minute time frame that I wanted to see break, right? And it broke that level eventually. And then what happened was I wanted a retest. So around this time, we're right around here. So we have, let's see if I can, let me just move this. So we had that level of support that was formed, right, on the 30-minute time frame. Price broke below, right? And I was waiting for a pullback. So I was waiting for price to do this. I was waiting for price to come back here, print some wicks, some bearish candles, and then fall down to this level here, right? So this level, a bunch of resistance right here. So we have resistance. It finally broke through. It pushed up. Now we're waiting for price to come back, test that before pushing up higher, right? So on the lower time frames, there was more than enough range and room for me to snag a 3-to-1. Right here, I had a 3.39. On this setup, I had 2.27. So the way it worked, this is how it worked out for me. So price formed a level of support. That's the reason why I had that white box there. And then it pushed back up. Boom, got into my zone. Once it got up there, I took a market execution sell as this candle was forming, right? So it formed, took the market execution sell right in that region there. And then it kind of was juggling around for a few minutes in that range. And then it started to push low. Once it got 1-to-1, that's when I started to watch it again. We got down here to the support. It started to break. That was good signs for me. And then what happened was it started to form a level of support right in that region and then pull back. So once it pulled back, there was another level of support where we had support here. We had some support in this region here. Not to mention we had the moving averages that were curling down. And then price got stuck at the 20. So I was like, all right, bet. I see that price is stuck at the 20. I'm going to take another sell. Right? So once it got stuck there and then price started to move sideways, I took an execution once the next red candle started to push down. Didn't push down yet. We had that level of support that was formed. That's the reason why I have this white box right here, plus level of resistance that goes across, support, now it's resistance. Cool, so we're moving sideways in this region. Once price broke below this, it broke and closed below here, I was in the trade. All right, not yet. We're not doing anything yet. We're sitting on our hands. We had a trend line here. We had this trend line that went across, right? And then this trend line that you're looking at here was on a 1-minute time frame. So we had this high, lower high, a lower high. Now it was letting me know that, all right, price is starting to fall down. So boom, it started to break. Once it started to break, I took it right here, boom, impulse. All right. And then it started to fall, it was doing its thing. It pulled back on me. But then the trend line was being respected, wicks. And then we had these massive, you know what, I take that back. I did not take the setup here. I took it after here. That's what it was. Yeah, so we had a touch. On the third touch, that's when I decided to jump in it. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. So we had these massive candles, and then we had a close below. And once it closed, this is where I took my entry, right here on this close. So I took my entry, right, with my stops above the previous high, so 11 pips, right? And then I just let it do its thing. Let's come back up to like a 15-minute time frame. So started to push, it was pushing, it pushed. It got down to where it needed to go. I was kind of upset because I was watching it, and as I was watching it, it literally hit 79.70 to the T, right? But when it hit here, because of the spread, MT4 didn't close my position. So it, like, I was literally watching it. I was watching it with my girlfriend. MT4 did not close the position. It stayed open, and then it started to turn around on me. And then once it turned around, I closed it around here, 79.74. I just manually closed it because at that point I was like, yo, if this is gonna go the other direction, I'd rather close it, leaving 3 to 4 pips on the table versus, you know, not closing it because MT4 didn't want to close the trade due to spread. So I closed it. And then eventually what ended up happening was it pushed back up to like 79.84, which was, let's see, is that it? You can push a little bit higher. Yeah. So it pushed up here around this region, 79.88 actually. And then it eventually collapsed and then hit TP. So let's see. And boom. So eventually it dropped even further, which would have closed on MT4. But I'm not tripping, you know. I left like $160 on the table. It doesn't matter to me. I was able to secure $1,634 in the market on my Ftmo challenge. So it perfectly worked out for me. And oh, for those that don't know, yes, I'm doing another Ftmo challenge. This one is for 50K. I already accepted the 100K and passed the 100K challenge. Now I'm doing the 50K challenge to get 150K. And then at the beginning of the year, if I pass this at the beginning of the year, I plan on doing another 100K challenge to bump up to 250,000 worth of trading capital to just be able to trade all of next year, or at least attempt to trade all of next year. The first 100K that I earned, you know, it started out strong. I was up about 8%, no, 4%, 4.5%. And then it kind of started going sour. I was in Mexico for a month. I was trying to trade while partying, living, and vacationing. Not a good idea. If you're not in a clear headspace to trade, don't trade. The account ended up going negative 7%. So I stopped trading. And what I'm doing now is I'm gonna do this 50K challenge to bump up the equity in it, or to bump up the threshold of like the max daily, or the max loss and the max daily loss, so that I can trade with both accounts and then bring my 100K account back up to 150. And then from 150, I'll be trading both accounts together. So that's pretty much it. Once, you know, the trade ran into my, hit my TP, or once I closed the trade, what ended up happening was exactly what happened on GJ. Price went the opposite direction and essentially would have closed me out, you know, would have stopped me out both trades. So that's why it's important to have your TP set as well as your, you know, your stop losses set, because with the 100K Ftmo account that I was able to acquire, you know, a lot of my trades, I had stop losses set, but I would remove the stop losses because price was getting too close, and I knew that it would wick and then turn around, but some trades wouldn't do that. It would just go the opposite direction. So I was making a lot of mistakes, especially ones that 4.5% ended up in the negative. And I was trying to like recoup, and my mind was just, it just wasn't clear. Like I was on vacation trying to trade. I just wasn't in the right headspace to be trading at the time. So just be mindful of that. Pay attention, pay very close attention to what you're doing, you know, because one trade can blow up an account. You know, one trade can lead to a blown account. So always pay close attention. This was my recap for these 2 or 3 trades that I took on GBP AUD, GBP JPY. You know, solid trades. You know, I'm very grateful. And yeah, that's it. Peace.